It is Tuesday, October 20th, 2020, and this is an update on the Three Gorges Dam and current events in China. We have 4 pieces of information to cover today, including a look at the live stream and the water level at the dam. Also, courtesy of Reuters, China denies report it may detain Americans, says U.S. mistreats its scholars. Next, courtesy of moneycontrol.com, U.S. dangles financial carrot to push developing countries away from Chinese tech. We also have some new tweets. Let's hop into it. And a brief caveat before today's video. While researching for these reports, I come across information from various sources. Just because I decide to include a piece of information doesn't necessarily mean that I agree with it. I like to let you decide for yourself. Moving on. When I started this channel, I tried to do it from the viewer's perspective. Sometimes you might only have 10 or 15 minutes in your day to squeeze in something that you really want to dive into though. So instead of taking 30-40 minutes to Google all of these topics and look into all of this, I thought let me streamline this and try to condense it down where people can actually take it in. Now that process has been a learning process for me as well. I'm not going to say that it hasn't, but during that time people have asked me questions like, what is your stance on the CCP, or what is your stance on the dam or China, even politics. That wasn't the aim of the channel when I started it. I haven't really given any of my personal opinions on anything so far. Not to say that I won't in the future. I do have opinions on things, but right now let's use the ripple effect from the floods in China, for example. If you work in agriculture or imports, exports, if you're a farmer, that type of information could affect your bottom line, and it's good to share that, get it out there. The better informed we are, the better it is for everyone. In the future, I'm hoping to have some interviews and streamline things even further, so thank you so much for being with us so far on this wonderful ride, and let's get on with today's video. And first, let's check in on the live stream at the dam. And the spillway angle camera is still up and running today with no visible discharge. And the side angle camera is still down today. And now a quick look at the water level at the dam. The current water level is 173.37 meters. The current inflow is not noted, and the current outflow is listed at 16,200 cubic meters per second. It is worth noting that these numbers are released by the CCP. And the water level has risen over the past 24 hours. It was 173 meters and now sits over 173.3 meters. Upstream at Kuntan, the water level has also risen slightly. It was about 175.6 meters and now sits over 175.65 meters. And this comes courtesy of Reuters. China denies report it may detain Americans, says U.S. mistreats its scholars. China denied on Monday that foreign nationals are under threat of arbitrary detention, following a newspaper report that Beijing had warned Washington it might arrest Americans in China. The Chinese Foreign Ministry said it was Washington that was mistreating foreign citizens, accusing the United States of outright political repression of Chinese academics. The U.S. claim that foreign nationals in China are under threat of arbitrary detention is playing the victim and confusing black and white, Foreign Minister spokesman Chao Lijian told a regular news briefing. China protects the safety and legitimate rights of foreigners, he said. The Wall Street Journal reported on Saturday that Chinese officials had issued repeated warnings to U.S. government officials that China may detain Americans in response to the Justice Department's prosecution of Chinese scholars. In September, a State Department advisory warned against travel to China, saying the Chinese government uses arbitrary detention and exit bans for U.S. citizens and others to gain bargaining leverage over foreign governments. The Trump administration has increasingly accused China of using cyber operations and espionage to steal U.S. technology. Beijing denies this. Earlier this year, Chinese prosecutors indicted 2 Canadian citizens on espionage charges, a move seen by Western governments as punishment for Canada's arrest of Huawei Technologies' chief financial officer Meng Wanzhou in late 2018. Beijing has denied the indictment was related to Meng's case and has repeatedly called for the release of Meng. China hopes Canada can think more about the future of the two countries' relationship and settle Meng's case at an early date, said Chow. And this comes courtesy of moneycontrol.com. U.S. dangles financial carrot to push developing countries away from Chinese tech. The United States is offering loans and other financing options to ensure developing countries opt for hardware from suppliers in democratic countries instead of relying on Chinese telecom equipment. The U.S. terms the alternatives safer and with fewer strings attached. Bonnie Glick, the deputy administrator at the U.S. Agency for International Development, which is spearheading the effort, said the financing could be potentially worth billions of dollars in total, the Wall Street Journal reported. While USAID typically provides food assistance rather than technology, this will entail dispatching staff to meet politicians and regulators in developing countries to push them away from Chinese companies such as Huawei Technologies and ZTE Corporation, Glick said. The financing will not be direct, but through agencies such as the U.S. International Development Finance Corporation, which can give direct equity loans and has about half its $60 billion investment capital remaining for non-telecom deals, and the U.S. Export-Import Bank, a spokesman said. Partner companies to furnish 5G equipment would include Ericsson AB Sweden, Nokia Corporation Finland, and Samsung Electronics South Korea, besides smaller American companies in the early stages of developing open standard 5G technology, Glick added. The message will be two-themed, according to Glick, first being that Chinese equipment is vulnerable to espionage, and second that Chinese loans can be a debt trap to take over control of national assets. There's a lot of fine print. The Chinese government has promised countermeasures to U.S. actions. The country's largest international finance bank, the China Development Bank, did not respond to queries, the report said. The developments seem to be a step further into the U.S. tech battle with China, the report said, noting that U.S. President Donald Trump has waged sustained curbs against China's tech advances, signaling concern over spying and trade practices, charges that the companies and Beijing have denied. The U.S. has since 2018 lobbied with NATO and other allies to ban wireless 5G tech from China, and was successful in Britain and Poland, while Germany is still considering the move. The biggest challenge, however, may be in price-sensitive Africa, where Chinese wireless equipment dominates the market. For example, Huawei and ZTE hold 50% and 60% sales share in Africa and the Middle East, respectively. Thank you for watching this video. If you're finding it informative, please consider giving the channel a subscribe. And our last piece of information is a series of interesting tweets. And I think that's a good place to wrap up today's video. I hope that you found it informative, and check back soon for more content.